90 to 115 people at a time, and I answer all your questions. Sometimes I have a special guest stop by. Also, the General's tent is going to be Gene Decode this month, May 28th, 5 p.m. That's going to be fire. You're going to want to have a list of questions for that guy. Military submarine code breaker, knows a lot of stuff behind the scenes, and he's very, very sharp and knows exactly what's going on today. His theories have always hit the mark pretty well. The sale on Nino'sCorner.tv is the Live Forever sale. Pay once, you don't ever have to pay again. I'm still doing it. People are really liking this sale, so it's up there right now for everybody. Also, Nino'sCorner.tv, Wano saving the ghost. Laura Eisenhower is going to be on today. Event Zero. Event Zero. We're headed into Event Zero coming into 2030. What does that mean? A massive consciousness shift. Something's going to happen before 2030 that everybody will remember. But will there be a Mandela effect? Will there be a massive Mandela effect where half the population remembers the world a certain way and then the other half remembers, I don't know, let's just take an example, a nuclear explosion going off or aliens landed? Will there be will the timelines converge basically going into 2030? It's a very, very interesting podcast, I promise you. Michael Jaco's coming on, Dr. Artis and Dr. Tal Braun's coming on today. Gene Decode, SGN on. Folks, it's a star-studded lineup, baby. And you might want to turn it down or turn it up, baby. Yeah, light it up, Rodriguez. Coming at you live from the apocalypse, folks. Yeah, let's go. All right, so as a new global health scare is emerging, Obama begins holding secret meetings. Yeah, secret meetings. So I'm going to say this right now, folks. It looks like they're planning something. And like I said, the celebrities are signaling each other. Better get your travel in now. I have a feeling around, I don't know, let's say the World Cup, super spreader. That's what I think is going to happen. They're going to blame it on a super spreader, and that's when things are going to kick off. And, you know, if you think about it, where has Obama been going lately? He's been going to the UK, trying to work some kind of deal. Is he a flight risk? Is that what's going on here? I'm going to be asking the ghost all these questions. And then the King Charles comes to America and basically submits to Trump. Well, does that throw Obama's plans out the window? And is that why he ran to Canada? Is he looking for a place for exile? He knows we're hot on their ass. Or are they planning something much, much bigger? Obama quietly holds high-level meetings. So, all right, folks, let me tell you where we are at this stage of the game, and I'm sure the ghost will agree with me on this. Comey is looking to cut a deal. That's what I'm hearing. Brennan and Schiff are next on the chopping block, which then leads to you-know-who. Iran has been neutralized thus far. The alien card is being taken away from the global elite, with Trump beating them to the punch with disclosure. They see their games are coming to an end. Obama knows his end is near, and he's terrified. He's terrified. He has made trips to the UK to ask for help from King Charles. Now, I don't know this for sure. Now, this is I'm just speculating here. But those fell flat because he just saw King Charles just openly submit to Trump here in America. In fact, Trump even had to tell the bees, or at least King Charles did. So what did Obama do when he saw King Charles openly surrender to Trump? He raced off to Canada to meet with the likes of Soros and Mark Carney. Obama was actually dining with the Canadian PM Mark Carney, while Buttigieg, butt plug, I like to call him butt plug, and Slotkin flew in for a closed-door Liberty Party strategy session. Private meetings? Is that what's happening here? Secret meetings? You don't say. What could they be discussing or planning? All in the right timing of this global health scare that's kicking off right now. You mean to tell me Barack Hussein Obama is meeting with world leaders while President Trump is in office? Well, that obviously caught Trump's attention, and Trump has stated. Trump actually went nuclear. He said, meddling in foreign affairs one too many times. After Obama allegedly sent a representative to the U.S.-Iran meeting in Pakistan, Trump called it a clear Logan Act violation. He doesn't want to help. He just wants to hurt me. Trump said Obama has never asked for advice by the White House. And then the warning shot. If he oversteps again, the U.S. Marshals will put him in jail. The director of the World Health Organization, Dr. Tedros, says every country in the world is now expected to fall in line with his international health regulations because of the Boogeyman 2.0. Now, think about this. What does that mean? Well, it probably means you're not going to be able to travel anywhere outside the United States without some kind of health card. Now, if you go to Dr. Judy Mikovic's show on ninoscorner.tv, she shows you exactly how to get around that and shows you the steps on how to get the yellow card for travel, the whole thing, and she'll give it the stamp of approval herself. It's amazing. He says there's now a moral obligation for nations to submit and believe in his global health order. It's only when we support each other that we can respond more effectively to viruses and outbreaks. Countries are expected to cooperate based on international health regulations. And as all this is happening, Costco seems to be preparing for the pandemic of a potentially bigger boogeyman outbreak than the last, is what I'm being told. Now, will it fall flat? I think it will. And they're making the announcement in America. So there are pallets of toilet paper stacked almost all the way to the ceiling, and a lot of stacks, and they're in all the locations of Costco are now preparing for this health scare. Don't fall for it, but be prepared for the media to push it during elections. 17 Americans are being transported to the National Quarantine Unit, Afoot Air Force Base, Omaha. Forced quarantine could last weeks, potentially up to 8 weeks. Afoot is in a hospital. It's where U.S. Nuclear Command sits. So where exactly are these passengers being taken, and who decides when they come out? This is all very, very strange stuff, folks. A French woman who was evacuated from the cruise ship tested positive for the you-know-what, and her health worsened in the hospital overnight. Of course it did. French Health Minister Stephanie Rissa said the woman was among 5 French passengers who's been taken into quarantine. Benjamin Netanyahu insinuates that the only way he will decide when the war against Iran will end, and is demanding that uranium be removed from Iran. And who's he going to try to use to do that? Us. It's going to be very interesting to see how Trump plays this card. I told you, folks, I'm with Trump all the way, and I'm waiting to see how he plays the Israel card. That's what I'm waiting on. And I know why people go right up my ass because of this, and they tell me, you're all for Israel. No, I'm not. I'm waiting I have faith in our president, is basically what I'm saying, and I want to see how this card gets played. I do see an operation. I see strategy, but I got to tell you, folks, I'm getting a little nervous with this Israel stuff. So we'll see. We'll see exactly how he plays Israel. So Netanyahu hints he wants the United States to go inside Iran and physically remove the enriched uranium by force. I don't know, folks. I'm sorry, but I'll be on top of this. I'm going to tell you that right now. You saw the questions I asked Juanito on ninoscorner.tv, and I tried to put a heat-seeking missile right up that ass to get the answers. I did the best I could. I'll keep doing it. I'll keep forcing the answers about this. So Netanyahu is saying, go in and take it out. This is the best way. There's work to be done. Hollywood actor Ben Stiller just tweeted Twin Towers and a fist up in the air. I thought that was very telling. Something could be getting ready to happen. I should get Trader Girl on to talk about this, by the way. I probably will, but there it is. That's a weird tweet. A lot of strangeness happening around the Hollywood circles, around the government, politics, world affairs. In other news, Trump still wants to crack open Fort Knox to personally confirm $700 billion gold has not been stolen. So I thought he would have known this already. I was under that impression. The U.S. House has just passed legislation authorizing President Trump to surge defense of American property abroad, 247 to 164. That's good news. Tim Burchett says it limits entry into the U.S. ports for any vessel from a country which has seized American property abroad. Why in the heck do we need to allow people in our country that have mistreated our folks? It's a good piece of legislation, and I look forward to it to becoming law. So let's bring the Ghost on right now. Ghost, are you there? Welcome to Nino's Corner.
Yes, good morning. From butt plugs to the Logan Act. Interesting day.
I had to hit some of the breaking news, but all right, man, let's get into this. So obviously, we're looking at another health scare. It looks like they're going all in on this one, Ghost.
Of course they're going to go all in on it. And they're going to use the same, just transferred with different backgrounds, the same type of chain of events led to this that has led to the last one. And I mean, I'm talking about background chicanery, let's say. So yes, you have, it was actually expected. In certain circles, it was expected that this kind of thing would come around again. And the timing would be very, very interesting. It should be obvious to everyone at this point, what is going on with that. And now people see the wisdom of changing the game regarding the UN and the Board of Peace in the third week of the beginning of this year.
And let's not forget,
we are out of the WHO.
Right. So that's huge. And now with the floodgates being completely open on X, I think this is going to be debunked very fast. And I think a lot of doctors are going to come out, screaming, yelling from the rooftops. I had Dr. Judy Mikovits on. I'm having Dr. Artis on today on ninoscorner.tv. But I'm nervous. I'm a little hesitant to talk about it here because we know what they did. They did last time. They're going to do it again.
Let's just say doctors, epidemiologists, and other microbiologists and health professionals, they're all, believe me, inside in hospitals. I can tell you this from just personal contact in many hospitals. In every hospital you will find this, but in many hospitals to a great degree, the people even working there know what's up. They're the ones who are on the front lines. It behooves them to learn from the first go round, which was largely more a test as well as a destructive venture. Everything is always being collected for data for improvement for the next time. But you see where preemptive moves such as stepping out of the UN and the WHO and many of the other relationships with that fake organization have proven to, okay, here we are. Now you see why. And I just caution people to keep the biggest picture they can in mind. And you'll see that things are actually going definitely, most definitely, in a certain trajectory, and it is a good one.
Well, let's we have these weird signaling, right? Jimmy Kimmel coming on late night television talking about Melania Trump looks like an expectant widow. We now have Ben Stiller putting out Twin Towers with a fist up in the air. Obviously, these guys get the memo before other people do, and we could probably, there's been 2 assassination attempts that were sloppy. But, John Carmen has said that they're testing perimeters at the White House. They're seeing what they can get away with. They're sending these cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, nut jobs out there to test the perimeters. We could expect more assassination attempts to escalate along with this health scare. Could we expect terrorist events on the soil? I mean, we're getting close. I've heard extremely close to Brennan and Schiff and then Obama.
And they represent certain milestones in let's say, the proper exposition of prosecuting the criminality, the beginning steps. So I would say even the bigger picture matters more. These will happen. These will happen.
And Comey is, what I hear, taking a deal. He's singing like a canary. Is there any truth to that, Ghost?
I've heard such things, but until verified. But I would think, looking at it, let's look at it just from analysis. Yes, duh. Once there are certain things that have someone in a certain position, they have cards to play, but the idea is you have all the cards. So no matter what they play,
so is that why
it's covered, and that's why this has taken the time it has. You don't want vestiges of all of this surviving in its current form, and it simply won't in the fullness of time. It will not. So, yeah, expect these things.
Is this why Obama is now fleeing to other countries? Is he trying to ask for help? Is he trying to look for an escape clause here? Is he trying to get? And I know he's going to be. We both know that he's going to be a flight risk. He knows time is ticking. He looks very panicked. He looks terrified to me. And now he's holding these, secret meetings at the same time as assassination attempts are picking up, as this health scare is now front and center on the media. And now Obama's taking, it's no coincidence that he's taking these secret meetings, correct?
Not at all. Think about it. There's many things going on at one time. Being as he is a lackey for the globalist, in my humble opinion, of course. But look, he would be trying to secure himself. He would be trying to secure a position and trying to help secure anything detrimental to where the current trajectory is going. Simple as that. So, and obviously these things are involved with this, but I'm sure on one level, everything was handled with State Department filings, anything that had to be done, notifications of any kind, and okay, you're going to give a speech at an organization in Canada, and you have people like the Federalist Society looking at this very closely, and yes, other layers looking at it also at the same time. It's just, it should be common sense to people looking at these things that all of that is going on at the same time. And
Ghost.
These moves telegraph to the public reinforcements of what you're actually seeing at the highest level.
So, Ghost, I pay attention to a lot of the articles that are coming out because I know this is how the occult, the elite talk to each other.
And we're going to talk about that. So go ahead.
So there's an article out that caught my attention, and it says they're not saying someone should kill Trump, but they're coming close. Somebody should do it, and its variants have become increasingly popular online, especially with memes. Peyton Venice was fuming about President Trump when he grabbed his phone and hit record. Somebody should, he declared, pausing in a dramatic effect. Somebody should, signaling to someone should take him out. If somebody knew what needed to be done, that person should probably just do it. The 27-year-old progressive influencer continued. I mean, conspicuously, but not defining it. Then he uploaded the 62-second video up to TikTok, where it accumulated more than 700,000 likes. 700,000 likes and 3.2 million views. His version on Instagram garnered another 1.4 million views. Crazy how we all know exactly what you're talking about. One of the thousands of commenters replied. This stuff is now, flowing all over social media. Imagine this was in the Biden era. You would be arrested. They would come kick down your door. But it's okay to promote this with Trump, and this is getting really dangerous. And this is why, 107 has always said on the channel, you said this too, that there's going to be civil unrest, right, Ghost, when this all starts going down?
To what degree always remains to be seen. There's no way to determine that, but yes, this is an inevitable aspect of what is coming. Now, let me stop right there. Even things like the health scare, have all of these things have been anticipated to one degree or another. All of them become blessings to the opponent, meaning what is going against the globalist apparatus and the Trump administration, obviously, and what this country is, how it's positioning itself. So you can look at that right there and see, yes, obviously things that have been projected as time, you mentioned timelines in the opening, as timelines collapse. Back 14, 15 years ago, the outcome on the systems then, and we're not talking about quantum parallel process, all of that nonsense. We're not talking about that entering into what the public knows just yet, even though that has been in use prior to then. But all of the results came down to everything converging back into one inevitable direction. And that inevitable direction has to do with a raising of awareness of the people, of the veils that are dropping, and a raise in consciousness. This is something I've mentioned many times before. I've touched on it the same as I'm touching on it now, because there's going to be a time when we're going to have to concentrate on that aspect with things such as the releases of UFO information, and how that is a tug of war. So all of this is playing together at one time. Understand that.
That's exactly what I talked to Laura Eisenhower about a couple days ago. That's going on Nino's Corner.tv today, and I'm also going to put the edited version on YouTube. But she talks about, as we are coming into this event zero event that's going to hit humanity before 2030, how timelines are going to converge into this huge consciousness shift, and there's going to be a massive, wide Mandela effect. Do you agree with that?
Well, I think Mandela effect will be one of many effects that people will, even for the first time, experience. Okay, we are at the point in technology, and this is as far as I'll go with this, where we can participate in the direction and manipulation of reality. And I'm talking way above the level of just simple psyop thinking. Okay? And in the future, we're going to get more and more into this. Because in reality, what you are seeing revelation. Things are being revealed. Control systems are being revealed. The players in them, they happen to be today or yesterday or tomorrow. Those that are here now, most active, will reap what they've sown. But you have this very, very important and crucial to humanity series of events playing out all at the same time. Those timelines will crunch back into one. And it's meaning that phase is over with. We'll look back at these years as years of extreme chaos and confusion and stupidity, and the old trying to preserve itself in a world where knowledge, wisdom, discernment, technology, spirituality, everything is growing leaps and bounds, as it should. And the barriers between many disciplines are breaking down, as they will. And most people intrinsically know this. And I would caution people, don't feel threatened, regardless of your belief systems, don't feel threatened by what's coming, because the core of everyone's belief systems will be preserved and reinforced. And even the differences in arguments that have raged, and the horrible events even that have come about because of differences, will even slow and start to fade in the realm of human activity into the background. That's how powerful these times are, and what is coming.
But will there be
what is upon us?
You know, you've heard Daniel Brinkley on my show talk about a solar flash. You've heard other people talk about a nuclear type of, detonation going off, maybe multiple ones, and that's what wakes up the planet. Do you see something like that happening, or do you see it as a solar flare? Do you see an EMP happening? Do you see it taking out our grid? I mean, is that what's going to shake humanity to its core, and either send some people off the ledge and then wake up others?
Let's put it this way: events that will come, whether it is a combination of what you mentioned or a singular that's outside of it. Yes, that's coming. It's inevitable. Yeah, no matter how it's gamed, there is no going around it, because when think of it as this way: you've had a certain small group that traditionally for 500 years, let's leave it at that because it does go back thousands of years. But the last 500 years in particular has built upon an agenda that was in certain ways well intended for its time. But the problem is what always starts out to be something positive over fullness of generations becomes something that has served its purpose. If the purpose served between the deception of a global fraudulent legal system and financial system has been a constructive fraud, meaning even though, yes, it is not fair and it is still reminiscent of mass slavery in many ways, temporal and commerce-wise, exchange-wise between human beings and their endeavors, it served its purpose and it kept us alive to this point. But what we're experiencing now overall is old systems and the people vested in that old system and their egos and their shortcomings in many ways of intellectual, spiritual, etc., or accepting this kind of change. They're again fighting for their breath. And yes, there is a negative, a counter component to that, which I would call evil. That's the best way to put it out in its broadest term and effect. And that doesn't like the idea that it went from one thing to an age of enlightenment to various incarnations and then has become vestigial or no longer truly necessary. So it can live at the same time, but it won't.
It's the natural process of this happening, this human consciousness shift where we're at now. And as we shift more, that the old magic, the old trickery, the old guard naturally just can't survive in a world of quantum information and speed.
Yes. And
that's why they need for pulling the veil over our eyes. It's over. It's game over for them naturally.
And that should be accepted. That's why people like Robert Steele, God rest his soul, when he was alive, went from kill them all to reconciliation and let's talk this out and let's work this out reasonably so that the greatest good for the greatest number can be done instead of, well, a mass kill-off, for example, or a culling of the herd, as certain ones like to refer to it.
So, Ghost, I remember when we were on our podcast on Nino's Corner.tv, I was saying, man, so many people are jumping ship. They're turning on Trump. It's like they don't get the big, and I keep hating to use this term, but 5D chess game, right? And they'll roll their eyes and, oh, he's one of those guys. He's a letter in the alphabet tard, whatever. But the truth is this, folks, I've been calling these people out for a very long time. And now people are coming to their senses. I just saw Jake Shields put out a post saying, oh, Nick Fuentes, I'm not backing that guy. I got Dan Bilzerian saying the same thing about Nick Fuentes. But folks, who's been on the mark over and over for years about this guy? I called out Nick Fuentes first before anybody did. And I said he's a Fed. And these podcasters that are turning on Trump, they were activated. I said I'm on record saying that they were going to be activated to do so if for such a time as now. So Jake Shields puts out, I will never associate with Nick Fuentes in the future, but I will also stop talking about him unless necessary. I sincerely appreciate all the contributions, but now he's working against what is best for our nation. I suspect more and more people will come to this conclusion. So that's what Jake Shields puts out. And then Dan Bilzerian says, I suspect that Nick Fuentes is a Fed. I mean, but we're seeing this coming into midterm where all these podcasters are now, like the worm is turned against Trump and right. I mean, but they were always activated to do this.
Understand there are certain players out there that know exactly what they're doing. Those are few. The others are going along because, listen to what I'm about to tell you, they're passionate about what this nation represents to not only us, but the world and the correct future, a better future for humanity. Someone like Sean Ryan, for example, his comments are probably coming from frustration. He's been at certain levels, he's done certain things, but yet there's a bigger picture aspect that I think needs to be imparted to him, that he would then go, holy shit, and all I've done and seen and everything, even with his broadcasts, for example, he would go, wow, that fits. And that's, I see that. It makes total sense. And there's the evidence for it. Their passion is what, but some of them go off on their passion. And that's okay. I can understand that, but I'm cringing at where they're going. Like, brother, you need to slow down, slow that roll.
All right, hold on, Ghost. I got the ghetto timer just went off. And what I was going to say about Sean Ryan is I think he's coming from his heart. I really like that guy. He's a friend of mine. I haven't talked to him in a while. I think he really just coming off his heart. But we disagree on things, but whatever, everyone does. All right, get this, folks. Get your red light. That's one thing we all can agree on. Hey, everyone, David Nino Rodriguez here. So many people struggle with chronic back and joint pain like moi. Constant inflammation, crushing fatigue, poor sleep, thyroid problems, hormone imbalance, and autoimmune conditions that steal your energy and life. You don't have to go through this anymore. The PEMF mats from My Red Light hit these biggest pain points hard. They combine four powerful technologies in one mat. PEMF, far infrared heat, red light, and near infrared light, going all the way up to the deepest 1,064 nanometers. Most devices only offer one technology. I've used it and I felt my back pain ease, inflammation drop, energy return, and sleep improve. PMF and red light together help reduce inflammation, relieve chronic pain, boost cellular energy to fight fatigue, support thyroid and hormone balance, calm autoimmune responses, and promote deeper restorative sleep. Pair it with the red light panel in the MedBed hack for an even stronger full body regeneration. Go to myredlight.com now and use promo code NINO25 for an individual and for a bundled NINO30. Start now, folks. Get on this. Get your MedBed hack, baby. I'm telling you, it works. All right, go. So I go pretty quick on these. A lot of people take their time, but I try to race through them, you know. But listen to this. So Laura Loomer posts, why is Barack Hussein Obama meeting with world leaders while President Trump is in office? This is a coup. This is what she's saying. Why is Barack Hussein Obama in Canada right now meeting with world leaders while President Trump is still in the White House? Raw truth. This isn't diplomacy. It's shadow foreign policy from a man who refuses to accept he was voted out. Foreign presidents don't get to run parallel administrations. This should be a massive red flag for every American. The deep state, the globalist network never stopped operating. How many more private meetings with foreign leaders will Obama hold before someone holds him accountable under the Logan Act? Trump, as is president, America spoke. Stay in your lane, Hussein. Obama dining with Canadian PM Mark Carney tonight with butt plug and Slotkin. Fly in tomorrow for a closed-door Liberal Party strategy session. This isn't coincidence. It's a deliberate middle finger to the Trump administration and the American people. Mark Carney and U.S. Democrats openly coordinating against an elected government. The disrespect is off the charts. Also, in other news, Karen Bass is slammed for pulling out of the key debate after Spencer Pratt's success. So Spencer Pratt is really picking up speed. He's gaining momentum. And what does Karen Bass do? Well, she knows she has it in the bag, right, Ghost? She doesn't need this. Who does this sound like to you? Sounds exactly like what happened in 2020 and 2024. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass is being blasted for backing out of an upcoming mayoral forum just days after she took a beating in an LA mayoral debate, with Spencer Pratt being declared the winner. So now she's pulling out. I mean, look at all this stuff. This is how they play the game.
Pathetic, isn't it? But it is how they play the game.
I've never seen anything like this in my life. I just, you know, but like we said, they can't last in this new paradigm. They're being shown for who they are now.
Exactly. And day by day, as each day goes on, more and more, no one is saying this is going to be a cakewalk. There are going to be interruptions, but the key to being an astute and calm observer of it all, is realizing that I would say exercise your highest discernment at all times. Refrain from emotion or judgment. And so much drops away that you won't even bother looking at or delving into. I just happen to be sometimes in the middle of an information flow that, yes, I see what's going on in the background with all of this. And I have to be careful of what I would say for simple reasons that I don't want to upset anything. But I can guarantee you, Obama walked a fine line, has been walking a fine line, and probably this time came within just a dog hair of going off that one side of the razor's edge.
He's on a tightrope.
Absolutely. Oh, many of them are. Now, you mentioned Ben Stiller and his tweet. Well, realistically, that could be anything from a follow-along joke or any type of thing they're trying to, or it can, but hold on. It can be somebody thinking, well, they're taking part in doing their end of it in their industry and in their agenda as they understand it. But understand this, these people that telegraph this stuff, this very gifted and good man in Canada who has been through hell, and I know him very well, and I consider him a friend, a good friend. And he was able to decode timelines, bylines rather, scrap timeline, forget that, no, bylines of articles, the certain outlets they came from, and the actual numerical content of their titling, subtitling, and certain aspects in the article, and was able to predict twice attempts on the president that we then got to the president immediately. I'm leaving that at that to say, by the time someone like Ben Stiller is involved, you're at a point of rallying. They're at a point of rallying all troops in desperation, because we know how they encode these things so subtly and so very, very well cryptographically done, but as a reference point numerically, regardless of who speaks what language around the world. So if they're not involved anywhere near any type of ill will or ill action, they know, oh, that's happening. You see what I'm saying?
Right. And
these are right among you every day in the articles you go to. Let me, before I go into any detail with that, I would rather get things clarified and cleared before I spoke of them. But I'm telling you, that's how sophisticated it is, but that's how in your face it is. And the organizations involved are media corporations, banking institutions, etc. Across the board.
So we both have a mutual friend in Hollywood, right? A few of them. And there's some really weird stuff, you know, and the reason I'm bringing up Ben Stiller, how they're signaling each other. I know Hollyweird is very freaked out right now. They're all kind of like on pins and needles. They don't know what to expect. I played a video about Isaac Cappy talking about his phone call with Jim Carrey, how Jim Carrey this was years ago, was scared for his life because of that letter in the alphabet. He had a 5-hour call with Isaac Cappy, and Isaac Cappy just said, look, dude, you can't save yourself physically on this planet, but maybe you can save your soul. That's what Isaac Cappy was saying. He was saying, Jim Carrey, you know, you're not going to be able to save your life, but you maybe can save your soul. And then we know what happened to Isaac Cappy down the line. He was just profusely vomiting information on all these celebrities for the longest time. And then
removed from the picture.
Yeah, and then he got taken out. So here's where my thoughts on this is that, you know, Hollywood is also very busy covering up for each other. That guy right there is a true patriot, a true hero right there. That's one of my favorite patriots right there, Isaac Cappy. But a top plastic surgeon confirms Jim Carrey's new face is real. And see, I don't believe this. I think he was removed. I think Jim Carrey has been removed. I have not seen any videos of him. He doesn't have the same personality. It's all very strange. But a new, but this new
and
video,
height and certain other characteristics, people will be able to clue in on.
Everything.
Yeah,
it's weird. It's
absolutely.
Top plastic surgeon confirms Jim Carrey's new face is real and it was feminized during surgery. Like, why would you do that? A-list plastic surgeon, Dr. David Dubrow, just went on the Stiff Stocks podcast, and what he said was shocking. He says it was really Jim Carrey in all the viral videos, not a double, not AI, not a deep fake. He claims surgeons are applying female facelift techniques to male faces. Says removing upper eyelid skin on men can instantly make them look completely different and weird. Points the names.
Zach I would recommend against the upper blepharoplasty.
But this isn't the same guy, man. Look at this.
It's not.
This isn't to me.
And there was a
different eye color.
Yeah, and there was even an article the next day or several days following, or a statement from Carrey saying, "No, that wasn't me. Wasn't there?" That it was a stand-in, so to speak.
I haven't heard any statement on Jim Carrey. I haven't seen Jim Carrey.
Nothing since.
No. So to me, you know, was he rightfully worried about his life? Was he rightfully? I mean, what's really happening behind the scenes here? Because if you look at stuff like this, it's weird, man. But then again, if you look at his hairline, it kind of looks the same.
Yeah, and with age, you know, it would be. You know, the jury's still out on that, unless someone knows because they're involved. And if I knew because I knew somebody involved, I probably wouldn't say anyway. But, you know, these people are entitled, if they are of a certain countenance and behavior, that they didn't want to be a part of certain things and they didn't want to have any association at all. They had to walk the finest tightrope of all, a clothesline, a fishing line, rather. Think of that.
Yeah.
And it's you and I both know how in-depth and sad it can become for certain people who have good spirits about them.
I can see people aging, right? Like there's nothing wrong with aging. That's a natural process, but
there isn't nothing wrong with aging.
Completely morphing into a different looking person. I mean, could this be surgery? I guess it could be. I mean, it could be, but he just looks like a different person.
I took the Jim Carrey that floated in and out of, you know, the public realm to be one who was beyond giving a damn about aging or giving a damn about what Hollywood or the people would expect him to look like. Or maybe he just felt like, hey, you know, I'd like to see if this works. I don't know. But you and I know all of the, let's say, deflecting of reality that goes on with the explaining of these things, unless you know them personally and know them well. And
I don't know, his hairline looks similar. I mean,
it's very similar.
It looks like it could be the same guy. Let me know.
The guy on the right looks like post-surgery, swelling's gone down, et cetera, and aging, because facial and other tissues do thickens as far as the epidermis, the skin is concerned, as you age. And it depends on genetics on how thick it gets or how different you look as you age. So it's a very difficult thing to look at right now unless you have the data.
Nobody could ever just bow out gracefully. It's like,
no.
Why turn yourself into a freak? I don't get it.
You had to either go into the I died network, or you would die if you were certain individuals at certain times. And we've seen the red ligature, the series of from Anthony Bourdain all the way up to Chris Cornell, and I'm sure Bennington and many others in between and after.
Ghost, we're going to take some super chats right now, but first I'm going to read What the Fuck News. You want to stick around for the What the Fuck News?
Yeah, that's always good for a laugh.
All right, here we go. Let's go to some What the Fuck News. And What the Fuck News and What the Fuck News. This is crazy. I don't know if you guys saw the video of this jet striking a person, but this is I can't believe what people are. The world is getting crazier and crazier.
That was messed up, bro. Dude, that's messed up.
So former jet strikes and kills person on the Denver airport runway. during takeoff after security breach. A Frontier Airlines jet struck and killed a person who was walking on the runway at Denver International Airport late Friday night, according to the statement from the airport. Frontier Flight 4345 reported striking a pedestrian during takeoff at Denver at approximately 11:19 p.m. on Friday, May 8th, 2026. There was a brief engine fire that was promptly extinguished by Denver Fire Airport. The airport wrote on X, emergency crews responded to the scene. This is crazy. And bused passengers to the terminal. 231 souls were on board. Emergency response and investigation are ongoing. The NTSB has been notified. Runway 17L will remain closed while the investigation is conducted. The statement concluded. I mean, this is insane, man. I mean, this is crazy what people are doing, man. I mean, I've seen people get sucked into engines. There's people that have self-deleted that way, but like, dude, man, I mean, there's so many crazies now in this world that you have to worry about this now. I've heard if a bird gets sucked into an engine, that could take down a plane. Is that true?
It depends on the size of the bird and the type of engine and what phase you are in takeoff. That's what Sully Sullenberger had to deal with when he took off out of LaGuardia. He hit a flock of geese, and it took both of his engines flamed out. And by the grace of God, if he hadn't been a glider pilot, he wouldn't have hit that 11-degree nose up angle as he rested down on the Hudson, and consequently all those people lived.
So I've been told also drones are going to be a big problem in the future. Like they're going to start. That's one way they can start taking planes down is, by sending massive drone swarms into the airports and over the airspace and start taking planes down that way.
Drones can be utilized to extremely, extremely damaging ways. I mean, imagine a flock of drones that are small, yet can carry a little chunk of steel in them. And when those turbines going at tens of thousands of RPMs hit that, you can imagine the kind of damage. So there's a whole new level of threats because what was off-the-shelf technology, people finally turned around and said, hey, let's be mischievous with this. And now you see what's developed in Ukraine and around the world. The countermeasures to that are many and effective, but we're going to have to begin employing them.
All right, Ghost. Let's get some super chats in here. Kelly Panetsky, 576. Thank you so much. Super sticker. Dennis Ray, 917 prayers to the Black Sheep family. Absolutely. Thank you, Dennis Ray. Cindy Shipley, 7533. Thank you, Nino, for keeping it real. Can you please post the info regarding the Vegas conference June 15th? Yeah, they're going to be also premiering the Bolsonaro movie, Jim Caviezel's movie. I don't know if Jim's going to be there yet. I'm going to probably talk to him today, but I'll find out more. Prayers to your sweet family. Do not fall for the scamdemic. Act 2. Okay, I won't read the last part there. But okay. Thank you, Cindy Shipley. Big time, 17 ounce. Yo, hey, yo, morning champ. Hey, yo. Thank you. All right, Elite Cosmetic Meditique, I think. I don't think that I've ever missed a Ghost interview, and it never disappoints. Where can we follow him? You don't want to be found, right, Ghost?
Well, personally, no, of course not. But I go on your show. I go on with Space Shot. I go on with Truth Table News World, and I go on with Untold History. Those are the only broadcasts I've ever gone on. But I do go between them and repeat like I do with you.
All right, let's get to the next one.
Yeah.
Kelly Panetsky, you're back, 576. Thank you. Samajalan, that was supposed to be a person impersonating Jim. Yeah, that's what I heard too. But who knows? Yeah. Who knows? It's all weird, man. Who knows? Samajalan, get Moonshiner Tyler Wood on your show, Nino. I don't even know who that is, but I'll look into it for sure. Moonshiner Tyler Wood. All right, I'll look into it. Ask Ghost about the six new vehicle control patents.
I'm sure they're referring to automobiles.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's put it this way. This shows you how corrupt our our system, our legislative branch is, they're going to probably approve the use of these and other patents that will enable, well, absolute tracking or control of your car, listening in, which is already done now, by the way, with OnStar. Sorry if anybody's butt hurt over that. Not me in the audience, but those who use it listen in. I just take a pen and prick the microphones. They'll sound like Charlie Brown's parents afterwards if you don't want to be listening to it.
What again?
Just take a little sewing pin and stick it through the membrane of the microphones or find the microphones and it sounds like Charlie Brown's parents to the other end. So that's how you defeat these basic things. Or, they're trying to make laws that you can't block the antenna of the connection with the car and things like that. We're getting into some really serious
Faraday bag on it, like a Faraday type case over it, or what?
You could do a Faraday structure over it, say layering thin your aluminum and copper flashing in, say, a sandwich of 6 layers, and then rest it over it and fasten in place.
I don't want to be giving these secrets on fluff.
Well, there's a million of them, and I love geeking out on that stuff too.
All right. So, any more super chats, Ghost, Alex? How long before flying cars? Dude, I thought that would have been here a long time ago. You know what sounds crazier to me?
We could have had that in 1973.
I mean, yeah, but why not? But instead, we have I think it'd be much harder to accomplish driverless cars than flying cars. But whatever. If you really want to fly that bad, get a paraglider and with a fan on it. There was a dude. Do you know that there was a guy? Check this out, Ghost. There was a dude on the west side of El Paso, right? And I'm driving and we look up and we see this dude just flying around the west side, just on his little paraglider, just going all over the place. What is it? The motorized paraglider. You know what I'm talking about? The fan on the back of it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So this dude's out there just cruising all over the west side of El Paso. And I could tell all the cars are just kind of looking up at this guy. Well, the next day I go to the gym and I'm talking to one of the trainers at the gym and I'm like, hey, where's that so-and-so or whatever? And he's like, oh man, you didn't hear? I go, what? It was all his son died in a paragliding accident. I'm like, what are you talking about? I go, wait a minute. Was he the dude that I saw yesterday in the air? And they all looked at me like, oh, you saw him? I was like, dude, I saw him flying all over the place. He died. Yeah. He crashed out and died, man. 47.
There are actually jet turbine powered small aircraft that don't require a pilot's license because they're under a certain power and they're under a certain weight. So there's many magnificent types of ultra light aircraft out there now that fly at varying speeds up to 200 miles an hour.
Hold on. Someone's right here saying I'm rude. Okay, Nino, please stop sniffing into the mic. It's rude. Okay, let me tell you something. I can't help it. All right, I've been punched in the face thousands of times. I've broken cartilage in my nose. Okay, look, bing, it goes all the way down my nose. I can't help the sniffling, so get over it. And
you can't help it.
I can't help it, man. There you go. How's that? Minnesota trying. Oh, what happened just there? So, go ahead. Minnesota is trying to stop classic cars.
Yeah, because you can't control them. You can't stop them, start them, turn them off, hack them, eavesdrop. They're even talking about planning on changing the burning, let's say, BTU output and engine ratios to change gasoline so that only a new type of gasoline will be available after a certain year. This is all being talked about and in the works. These are the things people need to be aware of. These are the things that a lot of the garbage is distracting you from. No, if technically, constitutionally, I can ride a mule down a public road. I'm traveling. And that gets into a big argument. And I know certain lawyers would go yes, and others would go no, and police would go yes, and others would go no, absolutely not. But no, if we're talking constitutionally, you have the right to travel. You can be on the horseback if you want, and your safety precautions are in place for whatever jurisdictions you're riding through. So I find it disgusting that legislators are letting this kind of thing be instituted. And I find it sad that more people aren't aware of these things and standing up to it and saying no. You know, if I want to drive 3 lawnmower motors powering my car, I can. And if it's safe and it meets regulations, you can. Safety regulations for other people. It should be your concern.
A little ghost.
Not for spying on everyone. Plain and simple. Yeah,
I'm going to call the podcast. I'm going to call the podcast here. I appreciate you coming on, folks. Go to ninoscorner.tv. We talk more in depth about everything. I have Dr. Artis coming on. I have Dr. Judy up there right now. Dr. Judy telling you what you can do, what you have to do with this coming scare health crisis. It's very much worth it. Ghost, I want to bring you on as a general in the general's tent again. Let's try it for June. What do you say?
Just say when.
All right, let's do late June. I have a Gene Decode coming on this month.
That'll be a good time.
Yeah. So we'll do this again. Ghost, thank you for joining me. All right, folks, I'm out of here. See you at ninoscorner.tv. I'll have Dr. Artis up. I'll have Laura Eisenhower up today, and then I'll have Dr. Artis up next coming up. All right, folks, I'm out of here. And the new heavyweight champion of podcasting and the sniffler. The sniffle, 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 sniffler.